So what I have in this case is probably the best flash accessory that you can have in your bag. So hi everyone, this is Jiggy, a portrait and wedding photographer from the Philippines, and welcome to the channel. So one of the questions that's always asked is, what type of flash should I be buying? And there's so many things to consider, but one common thing is always going to be about power. What if I told you that this tiny speedlight, a 60-watt flash, is more than enough for all your lighting scenarios, even if you are shooting outdoor at bright sunlight, because of what's in here? What is in here? This is basically the new filter system from HNY. And why is it very important? Because of this very simple principle. If you don't go beyond your flash sync speed, then you're able to get the most out of your flash. But the moment you go on high speed sync, your flash weakens tremendously. And that's why I was saying, if you can keep your shutter speed within your flash sync speed, then this flash is more than enough for all your lighting needs. But let me explain it a little bit further. Flash sync speed is basically the fastest shutter speed that your flash and camera can sync together. Normally it is 1 over 250. In some older systems it's 1 over 160 or 1 over 200. Now you go beyond that, you're actually going on high speed sync, which now instead of having your flash just fire once, it's going to fire multiple times to sync with the opening and closing of your shutter, therefore making your flash weaker. That's why it's always best to actually stay within your flash sync speed so you could maximize the power of your flash. But how do you do that now if you want to shoot outdoor? And most of us are in love with what we call bokeh, or the background blur, which we can only get if our f-stops are at its widest, 1.2, 1.4, 1.8, or 2.8. But with the exposure triangle and we're shooting outdoor with bright sunlight, if we are shooting at 1.2 or 1.4, most likely our shutter speed will be beyond our flash sync speed. That's why a lot of photographers would say that you need to buy a flash that's 500 watts or more so that you could go on high speed sync and still tame the sun if you want to shoot in outdoor scenarios like what I just said earlier. However, you don't really need that if you have something like this. And this particular ND system, or the ND filter system, is not new. However, HNY did something amazing with this Evo series. Let's talk about it. Now, the backbone of this entire system is this one. It's called the HNY Revo Ring. Now, what does this Revo Ring do? You could actually see it here. It can fit lenses with a 67mm to 82mm filter thread. So look at this. All I have to do is twist, then release. So this is my 50mm 1.2 GM with a 72mm filter thread. And there you go. You've got a filter holder. Now, if I want to use this same filter system on this one, my 82mm 24 to 72.8 GM, all I have to do is do that. Now, that is the basis of this entire system. However, there are things that they did here that are truly amazing. Let's start off with this one. This is the HNY Very ND Evo system, meaning it is very thin. This is a variable ND with a CPL. Now, you could see here that it's got a thread. So you could put it on this particular lens here. So it's threaded. But check this one out. It's also magnetic. Pretty cool, right? So it's easy for you to shift filters whenever you need to shift filters. That's why they have the Revo Ring sold separately, because if I have this Revo Ring here, you could basically just magnetically remove it and put it in another lens. But of course, the beauty of this Revo Ring is that you can easily shift it from lens to lens without any problem like that. So why is a Very ND filter like this so essential to flash photographers? Well, I said it earlier, it allows us to stay within our flash sync speed. But a Very ND filter allows you to do this. In other words, you can have your f-stops from ND3 to ND1000, which is basically everything. You could shoot at 1.2 even at the brightest sunlight. That's what this Vari ND filter can actually do. Now this Evo series is actually beyond that too. What if you didn't want to get a Vari ND filter and you just wanted those slimmer filters? Well, HNY's got you too. You have options for these ones. Look at it. Look at how thin this particular ND filter is. Look at that. This one is the ND32, and of course it just magnetically attaches to the Revo ring. However, if you don't want it to magnetically attach, you could always screw it on. However, what I would normally suggest is that you get the biggest filter size for your biggest lens and you just do step-up rings like this one. The Revo ring allows you to use the biggest ND filter so that it's actually very economical. But here's the thing. Look at this. This is an ND32, but you have, let's say, an ND16. The ND16 magnetically attaches too. So now you have ND48. So you've got multiple stops here that you could put, or you could stack your filters in order to get the most from your filter system if you want to use it that way. But the Vari ND filter basically takes all of these filters and puts it in one like this. Now, one of the things that I love about this Vari ND filter is because this is a Vari ND CPL filter. In other words, it's also a CPL. Now, for landscape photographers, that is amazing because a CPL will remove reflections. However, as a flash photographer, I am not honestly fond of CPLs because it changes the color. I have to adjust. It's another thing that I need to adjust, which I don't really need to adjust anymore because I have no need for it. However, I need to adjust it because if not, one part of the image will be bluer than the other part of the image because that's the nature of the CPL. Now, this thing that I'm removing right now is basically the magnetic screw-in filter. If I use this filter without the magnetic attachment and just screw it in straight to this one, the Revo ring, this particular lever here will no longer move, therefore disabling the CPL, and it just works as a natural Vari ND filter, and that's exactly what I need whenever I am shooting with flash photography outdoor. This particular system, this HNY Evo series, is really perfect. It's a best flash accessory that you can have in your bag. Now, if you want to see some of the videos that I've been using the Vari ND system for, I'll put the link in the description below, or I've used the Vari ND system with. Now again, just to recap everything on why I believe this is the best flash accessory that you can have in your bag. Number one, it allows you to keep your shutter speed within your flash sync speed, therefore making flash units like this very, very powerful. At the same time, you've got your Revo ring that allows you to use it in most of your lenses. At the same time, you have an option to make it magnetic or screw in. If I use the screw in filter, therefore I am removing the CPL and just making it a normal Vari ND filter. But if you want it as a CPL, just put the magnetic attachment. Now the magnetic attachment allows you to use this Evo ND filters magnetically also, but of course these are also screw-in filters. Okay, so I hope you guys learned something from this video, and if you want to learn more, you could always check out the rest of the videos in my channel. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Now if you want to see some of the images that I've created, you could always find me in my social media sites on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Jiggie Alejandrino. Okay, till the next video.